Thank you for joining me on this episode of Nextbiteoflife podcast. Today we have Gabriela Encina, affectionately called Gabby by me and a lot of other people. She is a trained psychologist, and so she's here to talk about life and how we can handle ourselves during this coronavirus pandemic. But first of all, let's get to know Gabby a little bit better. Hi, Gabby. Welcome to the
Hey,
show.
thank you very much for having me, Kenkem.
No, I'm glad to have you here. I love talking to you, and we have
Me
so many
too.
hours of fun and laughing and
Mhm.
and eating.
Yes, that's really important. Yes.
Yes. So, Gabby, tell us tell us about your story. It's pretty unique and it's fantastic. I mean, walk me through coming from where you're born to where you moved to and how you ended up in Valencia.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yes.
so I will start. Okay, so I'm from Chile originally. I was born there and I studied there, studied psychology, and I worked for 9 years almost in human resources. And while I was working there, I fell in love with an Austrian guy who was traveling around the world, and he met me in Chile. We were both part of let's say, a organization called Hospitality Club. It doesn't exist anymore, sadly. But it's like, have you heard about couch surfing?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so it is the previous version of couch surfing.
Oh, okay.
And it was about traveling and inviting people to your home or showing them around, like a local, not like a tourist, but a
Yes.
local person where local people go and have fun, etc. So he contacted me through that and we started chatting. And after, I would say, 6 months, we met in person and yeah, we fell in love.
Oh,
And after 2 years, too long and hard and difficult years of a long distance relationship, I decided to go to Vienna and start my life there. And we spent 8 years in Vienna
yeah.
until we decided, okay, enough actually, it was more me than him,
Yeah.
enough of German. I had enough. I mean, I think it is the eighth or ninth year, the most, how do you say that, the perfect city to live, or the most voted city to live in the world.
Yeah.
But the weather is not that great, and of
Uh-huh.
course the language. Although I speak German now, is not the same to speak in on your native language. You know that. So it's complicated. It was
Yeah.
complicated for me, and we decided to go to Spain or to came to Spain because I wanted to stay in Europe.
Okay.
And that's where are we now? We are in Valencia. That's why I met you. And that's
How
my
did you choose?
journey.
How did you choose Valencia? I mean, you could have gone to any place else in Spain, but you came
Ah,
to
it's a
Valencia.
very good question. So actually, we didn't choose Valencia. That wasn't our first option. Our first option was Malaga.
Ah,
Yes, and we stayed there for 1 year. But after 2 months, I will say, we knew that we wouldn't, or we didn't want to stay there.
that's
But we, but yes, it was all really fast.
yeah.
We paid upfront 1 year because we didn't have jobs when we came here to Spain. So we didn't have the nomina, the how do you call that in English?
Yes.
Your salary papers, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Exactly.
And
Your pay stub. Uh huh.
exactly, so we had to pay 1 year upfront, and the landlord, he wouldn't give us the money back if we
Okay.
wanted to go early.
Okay.
So yes, we were in a way trapped in Malaga. And but Valencia was a possibility too. I was a little scared because I thought they spoke Catalan.
Uh
I
huh.
mean, like only like in Catalonia, like they are very militant about it. And I
Exactly.
thought in Valencia it was the same thing.
Hmm.
So I was a little scared, but we came to visit, and I fell in love like right away.
See,
because
that's what I hear from a lot of people. I mean, it
yeah,
happened for us. And as you
yeah.
know, we were in Malaga too, and we lasted 7 months. We broke the lease. We were just like, oh, screw this. And just, and hightailed it to Sevilla because I don't know what it is. I think it's one of those places where you either just love it immediately or
Yes.
you hate it. And
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. I could not get used to the accent. I didn't really like the beach. I mean, we were in a really awful neighborhood too. It just wasn't what I pictured. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe, I mean, good on you for sticking it out for a year. So so once you saw Valencia, you decided I like it, I'm staying.
Actually, pretty much, yeah. It was like we came here for a weekend. Actually, we drove
Uh-huh.
from Malaga to Valencia
Hmm.
through the coast.
Yeah.
So it was a really long journey. We
Yeah.
were 3 days on the road,
Uh-huh.
and the last day of our trip, we arrived to Valencia. So we stayed one night in Valencia, and I said, okay, I have to come back here because I loved it.
Yeah.
And then we came back 2 months later, and we stayed one weekend. Okay,
Yeah.
and after this weekend, I said, okay, we have to come back here. I want to live here. I want to try to live here because I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It's so many things, but nothing specifically like, oh yes, but I don't, the atmosphere, the weather is amazing. A lot
Uh-huh.
of green areas you have here. Of course, the
Yes.
beach, that was a must for me to see. It
Yes.
was always a must. Actually, after living in Austria, in Vienna,
Hmm.
and what else, the people, there's a lot of young people, the university, I don't know, everything, even the language, because they
Yes.
mix the Valenciano and the Spanish. So if you only with Spanish you can get through it perfectly, but if you are
Exactly.
interested in another languages, is a really interesting mixture of
Yes.
languages here,
Yes.
and it's a very cosmopolitan city as well.
Yes, it is. And
Hmm.
definitely the cost of living too is is
Oh my God,
really
yes, yes, that's another, yes, yes, you're right. Yeah, that's another
right.
point. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now it's great because you have a special um, outlook on life because you have the expat experience, but as a
Mm-hmm.
psychologist, you also have a professional view that most
Mm-hmm.
people don't have, which is something I'd like to discuss if you don't mind.
Of
Like,
course.
what right now you're an online coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Expat coach.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that.
What do I do, or why did I start it, or whatever do you
No,
want me
no,
to
no. I
talk about?
mean, yeah, no. I just want to see like people who are interested in expat coaching. Like, what do
What is
you
that?
do? Yeah, exactly. What do you
Uh-huh. Okay.
offer them? Yeah.
Okay. So it's the decision to make it online is because I work with expats,
Hmm.
and I wanted to reach the more people as possible,
Right.
because we as expats, sorry, sometimes we are staying in one place, but sometimes we are on the move as well, trying to decide
Yeah.
like we did, like Sevilla, no,
Exactly.
Malaga, no, Valencia, yay.
Goldilocks. That's what I say.
Exactly.
I say it's the
Yes,
Goldilocks effect.
exactly. Yeah. So I decided to do it online because, like I said, it allows me to reach more people. And what is expat coaching? Is actually helping expats or soon to be expats or repats. You know, when you
Yeah.
were expats and you come back home, it's another view of the world as well. And I help them to feel at home wherever they are. That's my motto, is to feel at home within yourself. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're on the move, if you're staying in one place, or if you're coming back home to your country of origin. I help them to do that, and how find the strengths that they have, their characteristics of their personality, sometimes buried when they move because they
Yeah.
have another priorities, because they postpone themselves because of their kids or their husband or
Hmm.
their wives, and all the abilities and all the experience that they had in their home country goes a little bit like diffused,
Hmm.
blurry, because
Yeah.
they are feeling a little bit like the contrary of evolving, like involving, like coming back to another stage of their lives, like a
Hmm.
child, you know,
Yeah.
like children. So I help them to find the strength because they are really strong people. All of us
Oh
who
yeah.
are ready to move to another country, we are so brave and so courageous.
That's true.
But in this spotlight, in this new life, sometimes we forget that. So
Yes.
I help them to find their inner strength and all the tools and the resources that they do have, but they sometimes forget or they can't see it clearly.
That's fantastic. I know a lot of
Mhm.
people, like when they move, they think that, I should feel this way. This is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be exciting all the time.
Mhm.
And they get there and they might be a little bit disappointed because it's not what they pictured, and they're afraid to ask for help. And you're there to tell them you shouldn't be afraid to, because we all have like our dreams and our hopes, but home is really where you are, right?
Mhm.
So you need to like bring home with you. And if
Mhm.
you leave, I see people sometimes move with problems, and they think like this new life is going to fix it. Well, it's not going to do that. You're just going to
No.
bring your problems with you.
Yes, and it's even sometimes worse. They exacerbate. They become more real and more stronger than before,
Yeah.
because you don't have the or your strengths. Like I said before, your strengths are a little bit buried, so you can find the craft. You say that in English.
Yeah.
The the strength to
Yes.
face this problem. So no. And another thing that I wanted to say is so often it happens that I hear from fellow expats that I'm supposed to be enjoying this. I'm
Mm,
supposed to be happy about my life. I'm supposed to be grateful. And yes, you should be grateful, but also you can feel whatever you want to feel. Allow
exactly.
yourself to. I encourage that a lot, because they tend to see or to block the negative under
Yeah.
quotation marks,
Hmm.
negative emotions, because they are not supposed to feel this way. They are supposed to
Yeah.
be happy and grateful and positive, and
Yeah.
that's a contradiction within them. It can be really hurtful for people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's great that they can definitely turn to you online. It doesn't have to be face to face. I mean, this is something that you can help them work through, and it's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Let me have the name of your website for somebody. I'll still also put this on the blog post so people have it. But let's have the name of your website.
Mm-hmm. It's Gabriela-Encina.com.
That's great.
Uh-huh.
Now we can segue into the
Oh
coronavirus.
my
But just before I do that, I know that you had actually gone back home for a visit for a long time,
God.
just before
Yes.
just before the lockdown, right? So you got back
Perfect
just in
timing.
time, yeah. But how was it as an expat that left there a long time ago? How
Mm-hmm.
did it feel to be back home? Did you think at any time like, "Oh, I should come back"? Like, did you have that sort of like, "Oh, maybe repat is the way to go"?
Yeah, no. And so I wrote a lot in my Instagram about that, like a journaling about my coming back visiting.
Oh, okay.
It's like I said before, the repat situation is complicated. Although I was only visiting,
Hmm.
I was there for almost 2 months, so it
Hmm.
wasn't just a quick visit.
Yeah.
And it was after 3 years. So, like you said, it
Wow.
was really interesting to see how these changes in my country, my home country, Chile, were going to affect me, right?
Yeah.
And it did. It's like life. goes on without
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
The people, of course,
Unfortunately, like
yeah, exactly. They
I
should
know
wait for
everybody would
me.
like to think they're like the
Exactly.
most important thing, but no.
Exactly. They have to receive me with trumpets and mariachis and like every. Okay,
Exactly.
actually they did, but
Ah,
it didn't happen every day. I wanted to
oh,
happen every day.
exactly. It's like, why are
So
they worshiping me?
exactly, exactly. So it's and they have changed.
Yeah,
People change. You have changed. The country
exactly.
have changed. My country, especially, went through and it's going through still, apart from Corona, a lot of
Yeah,
social riots and social changing,
exactly.
and so it's everything changed a lot.
Hmm.
So as a expat coming back home was exciting and beautiful and lovely to see all the people that I love, but also being confronted with the changes that they experienced
Hmm.
and comparing their lives to my life and what I've experienced. It was interesting. It was
Yeah,
sometimes overwhelming,
yeah,
uh, and to feel that I'm still part of their lives, but in another way.
yeah,
It's a lot to digest. Even and I
yeah.
know that because I work with my clients about it, but
Mm.
experienced it myself. It was interesting to live.
But it's great
But
because it gives you another dimension and being able to take care of
absolutely.
your clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Yeah.
I take pride of helping my clients not only because I'm an expat and sorry, not only because I'm a psychologist and a coach, but because I'm an expat, and I
Yeah.
can add to this list now that I'm a repat or I
Yeah,
experience
exactly.
repat experience.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So yeah, so I came to Chile to respond to answer your question. And I spent 2 months there. And when I departed from Valencia to Chile, they were already talking about Corona, but like something like very, very far away in China.
Hmm.
Something happened in China with a bat, and yeah, yeah, the Chinese are strange
Exactly.
people.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's that was the word in the news, etc. But while I was in Chile, it started to grow and grow and grow. And then suddenly, I don't know, I think end of January, the first case with coronavirus appeared in Italy.
Hmm.
But I saw it right, really, really far away because I was in
Yeah.
Chile.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, the thing is, still in Chile, I mean, I think this week they are taking it more seriously, but up until 1 week ago, they were like, yeah, yeah, that's in Europe, that's in Europe. So when I came back to Europe, it was not important at all in Chile.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
didn't notice that until I came to Amsterdam, I think was my connection flight, and everybody was wearing a mask. And I said,
It
okay,
must
this
have been
is
surreal.
exactly,
Exactly.
it was okay, this is really something going on here. And I came, and 1 week later, exactly 1 week later, they declared a lockdown here in Spain.
Wow. So
So,
you you
yeah.
just because I remember writing on your Facebook, writing your Facebook like, "Oh my God, we want you back here. I know it's great to be home and everything, but you need to come back."
Oh my God, yeah, but
So-
I have to say it was like coincidence because my flight was booked on that date, but
Mhm.
I didn't know how important or how severe the situation
Yeah,
was until I arrived here in Europe. Yeah. So
yeah.
yes, luckily I arrived safe and sound.
Yes, yes, and we're very happy about that.
Yeah, thank you.
Did being back there solidify for you that this is a part of my life that is now changed, so I don't need to move back here? I didn't feel the urge. Like, do you feel like now Spain is more like where your heart is right now as far as living?
It was a relief. I was scared. I think my husband was scared as well. He's always scared when when I come back to Chile.
Of course.
uh,
Well, Fede is never scared when I go back to Nigeria. He knows I'm coming.
he knows. He's sure
He
that you're
knows.
coming back.
Exactly.
That's funny. No, no, he's still scared because I know he knows that all my loved ones, my family is there. The whole family is there in Chile.
Yeah.
But I knew the first time I came back to Chile that I didn't want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And this feel at home feeling, I actually say that because I feel that I can be at home wherever I am feeling good, and that's about me, not about the
Yeah.
country or about the city. Of course,
Exactly.
if I
Yeah.
feel comfortable, of course it's better, you know.
Yes.
But as long
Yeah.
as I feel comfortable with myself and the things that I do and the people that I want to be close with,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And you know, for me, it's important right now to be with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine my love actually not everywhere, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, in Nicaragua right now, I don't want to be there,
Yeah.
but
Of course.
almost everywhere with him and
Mm-hmm.
with my work, because I can bring my work with me because I work online.
Yeah.
So now, right now is Spain, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't say okay, Spain is my home right now and I'm loving it, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
discard the possibility to have another home in 2 years or 3 years, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, as a psychologist,
Ooh,
what
okay.
what kind of, I don't really, what kind of advice do you have? A lot of people, like you for instance, you're used to
Mm-hmm.
spending time with your husband because you both work from home
Mm-hmm.
24, so you're used to being together. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember in a blog post that I wrote a little while ago about spending a lot of time with Federico, because it's pretty much the same thing.
Yes.
We're together so much.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, after the coronavirus struck, they're kind of like thrown in together. Like husbands go off to work and they're gone, the wife is off somewhere else. So
Mm-hmm.
there's very little time together. And now
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, you're in a closed space
Mm-hmm.
with the same person 24 hours a day. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
a huge adjustment for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of advice do you have for people that may be experiencing suffocation?
I call that, I posted about it in Instagram as well, and I called it partner overdose.
Ah, very good. Yeah, it's better than suffocation. See, that's why you're the psychologist.
I think it's, also, I mean, I can give a lot of advice, but it's one word: boundaries, boundaries, two words actually, sorry: boundaries, 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 and
That's
communication,
three.
communication, sorry, one concept. Sorry, I'm a psychologist, and everything depends. So, two words: boundaries
Okay.
and communication. That's
Okay.
the, but elevated to three. So boundaries, 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 and communication, communication, communication,
Okay.
because those are the two keys of every healthy relationship. But especially now, you have to say what you want to, and especially what you don't want to. And you
Yeah.
have to say what you're feeling, how are you feeling it, and if you want to be alone, say it. Don't just make faces or outburst your anger like leave me alone, but
Yeah.
I want to be alone right now, please leave me alone,
Hmm.
or I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm
Yeah.
going to spend 1 hour in the bathroom because I need my time alone. But
Exactly.
saying it, not just waiting for the other to encipherate or decipherate, how do you say that in English? Decode your face or
Yes.
your body language. You know what I mean? Just
Yes. Yes.
verbalize what you are feeling and what you are needing right now. And
Yeah.
on the other hand, listening what your partner is saying. Listening if your partner is saying to you, "I want to be alone."
Hmm.
If you want to be with him or to be with her, it doesn't matter. His or her, she's telling you, leave me alone 1 hour, respect it. So that goes both ways.
Good.
And that's
Good.
related with boundaries as well. If I'm
Yeah.
asking you to leave me alone. And I'm going to stand by it, that I need to be alone. And after
Hmm.
this hour or 2 hours or whatever time you need, I'm going back to the living room and we
Yeah.
can spend time together or not or whatever. But I need
Exactly.
this time for me.
That's very good advice,
Mm-hmm.
because you really, especially saying what you mean, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, and listening. The
Yeah.
listening part is very good, because it's a hard thing to do,
Uh-huh.
because sometimes when you have this emotions, you're just so consumed with yours that you
Mm-hmm.
can't hear what the other person is saying, and you're not
Mm-hmm.
listening, and you're
Exactly.
just expecting them to be a different way, which can cause a lot of stress,
Exactly.
anxiety, which
Exactly.
brings me to my next question. people who are people who are locked at home during the coronavirus,
Mm-hmm.
especially people who are single, who may
Oh,
not have a
yeah. Oh my
partner,
God.
or
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah. How do you deal with anxiety, loneliness? Like, what are some of the things you can ask them to do to make their lives a little bit easier?
Okay, so there are two aspect that you said already: anxiety and loneliness. For anxiety, like, it sounds so obvious, but please, every time you feel like you are going to go into an anxiety spiral, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing is breathe.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Please do not take it lightly.
Yeah.
Breathing, it's fundamental, and I mean breathing like consciously breathing.
Yeah.
Like, what I do and what I recommend to my clients is breathe in 3 times, hold your breath 3 seconds, and then breathe out 3 times,
Ah,
and do that 3 times. So the
okay.
whole the whole the whole circle three
Mm-hmm.
times.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing to control anxiety. The second thing is to focus your attention on something,
Okay.
and something specific, like, really, like, I don't know, your remote control, your hand, your hair, your pencil,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but really simple, and focus your whole attention to it.
Hmm.
To describe your pencil, start to talk about your pencil. Even if you do it out loud, it helps, it's more effective.
Yeah.
And just feeling, so you're just feeling your attention focusing on something else, you're going to feel better, because the emotions are per se not negative or positive, or the effects they have on us is not, they are not essentially good or bad. It's the attention that we put on the emotions is what
I see.
affecting us. You know,
Okay.
so if you deviate your attention to something concrete, really
Mm-hmm.
touchable, it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to deviate the attention and to focus it in something else.
Oh, that's great.
Hmm?
I
That's about
know.
the, sorry.
Yeah, that's about the anxiety, which is
Exactly.
which is great.
Exactly. And about loneliness, because of course loneliness can lead you to anxiety, but not only loneliness. Um, Connect.
Mm-hmm.
Connect. Again, repeating myself,
Yeah.
because that's really important. Connect with your family, with friends, with your neighbors. I mean, like shouting through the balconies, like in Spain. Um,
Yeah.
because now, and also loneliness, it's awful, it's difficult, it's challenging, but right now we are, not all, but a lot of us are feeling lonely sometimes because of the
Yeah.
coronavirus, and that's something that unites us.
Yeah.
So right now, connect to you. There are a lot of, I'm connecting more with my friends in Chile than never before, for example.
Me too.
Yeah, you
Not
see,
in
and it's,
Chile, but in
no, no, no.
California.
You have friends in Chile that you didn't
I
know about.
know.
So connect with the person that you wanted to connect before, or friends from high school or whatever they are, and be intentional about it. Not just
Yeah.
wait that someone contact you.
Yeah.
You know,
Be
because
proactive. Uh-huh.
exactly, proactive. That's the word. Intentional and proactive about connecting, about just talking. I don't know, even 10 minutes. That makes a
Yeah.
huge difference, because you
Yes.
feel a sense of community and that you are not alone. And that's about tackling loneliness.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when I feel a little bit of anxiety and overload, like I'm watching CNN or something, and it's just constant.
No.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
how can they write and speak about this virus 24 hours a day, every
Mm-hmm.
station? Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
watching a lot of movies, but to turn off that whole overload thing, because you
Uh-huh.
just like
That's
you can't
perfect.
help it. You're
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
it's the end of the world. This is how
Mm-hmm.
you feel if you keep watching that. So you need to take yourself away from it and
Mm-hmm.
do things that can take your focus, like you said, away from that. For me, it's
Exactly.
like needing a really horrible scarf. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even a scarf, it's just a long line. 'Cause I don't
But that's really
I,
therapeutical. That's really therapeutical. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know
A
how to
non-renting
connect it.
scarf.
So I'm gonna make the longest ass scarf in the world. So whenever this ends, it might be like 20 miles long by the time this whole thing ends. We'll see.
Can you go to the record? How do you say that? The Guinness
Yeah,
records
the
for the
Guinness
longest
World.
car in
Yeah,
the world.
exactly. Maybe that's what I need to do.
That's your goal for the Corona time,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's like this is my contribution to the world here.
That's a great idea.
So just find something else to do than focus on television 24
Exactly,
hours a day.
exactly. But I think it's great that you do that. Whatever it makes sense to you, because now that's I wanted to talk about it. Thank you very much that you pointed out. Now it's everything about being productive, and you should read, and you should learn, and you should make exercise, and you should. But
Hmm.
that can be really an anxiety trigger as well, because if you are not doing everything that everyone is telling you to do, you feel unproductive, you feel lazy, you feel whatever. And
Yeah.
it's perfectly fine to be lazy. It's perfectly fine to watch movies all day. It's
Oh, good.
perfectly
Then I'm
fine.
good.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine to need all day the longest scarf on the planet, as long as it helps you, as long as you feel good about it,
Yeah.
everything goes. So
Yes.
please don't allow that others or social media, whatever, dictate what is going to work for you.
Oh,
You discover what is going to work for you.
that's a very good point,
Yeah,
because we're the overload of social media and
yeah,
Instagram and Facebook and
yeah.
all this, it's toxic to you, you
Mm-hmm.
just need to like let go of some of the things, and this is the time to even if you have nothing else to do, clear out your Facebook bullshit. If there's people that you don't want to hear from, or
Mm-hmm.
the mean ones, or the ones that are bringing you anxiety, just let it
Mm-hmm.
go. This is the
Exactly.
time to take a fresh start, because
Mm-hmm.
at this point you have enough to handle, enough on your plate. You don't
Uh-huh.
really need the negative vibes, and so watch
Exactly.
cat videos or watch dog
And
videos.
whatever, like I said, whatever makes you feel better. It can be whatever you say it makes you feel better, not that what the other says. You
Yeah,
can you can have ideas for social media, like YouTube videos, or you can have ideas from your friends, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it because all your friends are doing it or your family is doing it.
yeah,
So yeah,
that,
extract what it makes sense to you. That's the message.
that's fantastic.
Hmm.
um Gabby, I know I promised it was going to be a short interview.
Don't worry, don't worry. I
As
still have
usual,
time.
we do exactly what we do all the time. Uh, it's been absolutely wonderful having you on here.
No, thank you
Um,
very much for
I
having
hope
me.
that people listening to this can take away some of the golden nuggets that you left us with. And like I said, I'm going to put your handles on Instagram and
Mm-hmm.
Facebook below the post so that people can contact you,
Mm-hmm.
um, and go for the coaching if they need it. It's
Mm-hmm.
tough being an expat. I know we whine and moan, and you're just like, oh my God, an expat life is just the most wonderful thing, but it's okay, like you said, to not be feeling 100% all the time. And there's
Mm-hmm.
no harm, no no shame in seeking help.
No,
That's
it
the
at
whole
all.
point of what that is all about. So
Mm-hmm.
take it from a psychologist. Reach out if you need help. You
Exactly.
won't be you won't be
Disappointed.
disappointed. Exactly. So once again, thank you so much, Gabby. It's
Thank
been
you.
wonderful talking to you, and for the words of advice you have for everyone.
Oh, you're very welcome, Kim Kim. Thank you very much for having me,
Thank
and I really hope to see you, like in person, really soon.
Me too. Me too.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode.